I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning! Snowman here to all you Brock Purdy and San Francisco 49er haters. Shut up! I gotta thank you, Shane.
I mean, whatever happened to the games where breaking 100 points was, I don't know, unusual?
There was one word to sum up the All-Star weekend.
Trays. Cause we take this job so serious.
Splash Brothers, yes. Ray Allen, replace him with Steve Kerr. Reggie Miller, yeah.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Oh yeah! Time to rock and roll. Good morning. Welcome to the wacky Wednesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us on this Wednesday, wherever you may be watching or listening on YouTube, Zebo TV, or if you're listening to us on WJKS out of Indianapolis, Indiana. That's a shout to my beautiful wife. Or if you listen to us on WLEO 26.7 in Baltimore, KSOS in Salem, Oregon, in the region, across the nation, around the world, we are your one-stop shop for everything sports. Now, I'm going to do something a little different this morning. Y'all know I'm a big fan of the United Football League. Mm-hmm. I ran into this pretty lady who's a big-time San Antonio Brahmas fan.
Oh.
So I dropped her a message and I said, look, you're a fan, right? Yes. You're covering the league, right? Yes. You want to come on and talk about it? Yeah. What? Yeah. Come on. I'm serious. But I'm a fan. I'm not into the X's and O's. How do you think I got started doing sports talk? I've been a fan of football since 1981, which makes me old, but hey, the hell with it.
We all started as fans.
That's how we all started. We just happened to possess a microphone, and I just happened to possess the Brahma Babe, Renay Peters. And here she is right now. Good morning, my dear. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited about this opportunity.
We're excited to have you. It's week 10 of the UFL, and your Brahmas have to go into enemy territory and face the loudest house in the UFL in St. Louis. And from what I'm understanding with my notes and from what you told me, this will decide the location of the XFL Conference Championship, will it not?
Correct. This is a big game. It's basically a playoff game, if you will, in itself. So yeah, if we can go in, when we go in to the Battle Dome, and we win, we will bring that playoff game here to San Antonio into our dome. If we were to not walk away with that dub, then we would go back next week and we would play the Battlehawks again in St. Louis.
What do you think has been the overall change this year from last year for San Antonio? Because they came out of the gate firing with a purpose this year, and it landed them a playoff spot. What do you think the change was from last year to this year?
Well, I think, and I do apologize, Brian. I have a dog in the background barking a little bit. I apologize.
It's all right. I have a dog and 3 cats here in the house that come on the set with me from time to time. You're fine. Okay.
Right. I think, in my personal opinion, I think there's several factors. I mean, of course, last year we were the XFL. Yeah. Whether, yes, it was a 3.0, but we had a lot of new. We had,
Mhm.
Hines Ward was a brand new coach.
Yeah.
Great guy, great football player. We all know about Hines Ward and what
Oh yeah.
amazing things he's done in professional football. I think, the players in themselves, while amazing, it was a different caliber. This year we did the merger with the USFL, so you're taking guys that have been from other teams, other leagues. The, if you will, the pit or the selection
Yeah.
was a little bit broader. I mean, I was surprised when I saw some of the guys that were on the team last year that I thought would be able to come back didn't have spots because the depth of talent out there. I'm also going to say, switching over to Wade Phillips and AJ Smith, totally different coaching
Yeah.
than what we had last year. So I think it's a collaboration of many things, or our quarterback situation. We don't only have the passing threat. We have a scrambling quarterback with Garbers. So Garbers and Dormady, I think they bring something special. Again, our wide receivers, the depth we have. It's a different feel this year. From a fan perspective, I feel like last year, yes, we were there and we had some talent and we had the capabilities, but everything was just so new. We had too many news.
Right.
Whereas this year, I think we're a little bit more established.
Here's the thing that I noticed about not just San Antonio, but St. Louis is established, being being in the XFL conference, and of course you had Birmingham and Michigan. They'll play in the USFL conference championship, and it's something you alluded to just a moment ago with just the experience of some of the players that came on to the teams this year when the merger happened. You could see it. You could see it from week one that there was a larger purpose for these players. Now, of course, Birmingham is in a league all its own. They're just racing through everybody. But if you look at how the teams played this year, and let's just focus on the playoff teams: Michigan, Birmingham, St. Louis, and San Antonio. All four spots have been clinched. Do you think there's like more of a purpose to them playing this year as opposed to what it was last year in just the XFL and the USFL when they were just in separate leagues?
I think so. I think you kind of are having two leagues that are somewhat different. Well, I will say, as from a fan perspective, very different. You've got your more purist, traditional style of football that came out of the USFL,
Right.
whereas the XFL had a little bit different rules, a little bit more. I don't want to use the word gimmick because I don't really like that word, but there were some things that made it very different from your purist traditional football. So I think for both of these leagues, it's kind of about making the UFL its thing, but each kind of have a little bit more to prove, because in the off season as a fan, I heard it. I'm a little bit pro XFL division just because that's what I like. That's what I'm used to. Familiar with the USFL, but to be honest, after the 80s and the Jacksonville Bulls and being a kid, kind of shifted away from it, so I got to give props. And yeah, I'm telling a little bit about that age.
Listen, I had the Chicago Blitz, the Philadelphia Stars, the Washington Generals when the USFL was first unearthed in 1983, and my dad turned me on to it. The first team I ever loved in football was the San Francisco 49ers. Hence, this little gift that my daughter gave me for Christmas. The team in the household, however, with my wife and me, and she teases me all the time, as y'all can see, is the Indianapolis Colts. That's because she's a big time Colts fan, but she watches 49er games with me. When I talk to Renay and she says, I'm just a fan. Honey, that's how we got started. That's how I landed with this microphone in front of me. Do we study the game? Yes, we do. We have to. But being a fan, isn't that what it's all about? Just being a fan of a team and just being there for them and with them. And you've gone to all the games this year.
Yes.
Have you not?
I have. My goal.
How crazy has that tour been? You got to tell me about this UFL tour that you've been on to see all the games. What's that been like? Because I know that schedule's been crazy. The travel schedule alone.
It's been amazing. I tell you, Brian, it has opened, as a fan of football in general, whether it's college, NFL, arena, all these different leagues. When you commit and my goal was 10 for 10. So 5
Mhm.
home games, which I'm a season ticket holder for, and then 5 away games. Would like to tag on 2 more of those to
Yep.
add a whole 12
Yep.
for 12.
Yep.
But for me, it was kind of like, I want to do this. I want to really get a feel for the league, not only my Brahmas, but for the other teams, the other fan bases. Because let's face it, yes, I'm a Brahma homer. However, I'm a fan of the league, and I want the UFL to survive. So in order for that to happen, in my super fandom for the Brahmas, taking that to the next level, traveling, talking to other people, going to different cities. So I've been to Memphis this year, DC. We'll be going to St. Louis this weekend, Arlington, Houston, and then of course, the home game. So, and it's very interesting to see the different fan bases. San Antonio is very unique. We're very unique in that there's a lot of culture for San Antonio, bringing in like even down to having our mariachi. We have a big wrestling background in San Antonio. Then you've got like myself with Brahma Babe, that's a little bit kind of like cheerleader girl with lots of rhinestones, but yet, trying to really build that female fan base. Then you go to places like, St. Louis, and that's 30,000 in a stadium. A rabid place that lost a football team, so they're definitely supporting their Battlehawks. Memphis, being a USFL team, some things have changed a little bit this year for them, and they're getting their crowd and fan base getting back to the games and things like that. But it was great to meet these fans because it's a camaraderie. While we all love our teams, and when we hit that stadium, it's about our teams. Most of the people I've met are really just wanting this league to thrive and survive.
I want to see this league thrive as well as survive. Like you said a moment ago, there's a lot of details that people want to point out. Well, this didn't happen, or that didn't happen. You don't have the fan support. I challenge anybody to go to a UFL game. And you got the challenge this weekend to go to a UFL game in St. Louis. Because the fans there, and I know I have a lot of friends in St. Louis that are starving for football.
Yes.
You gotten a chance to talk to them. They're starving for football on a full-time basis to return to St. Louis. And when the Battlehawks returned, a fire was lit under that city. My wife and I recently went to St. Louis. I had a chance to talk to all kinds of sports fans. If there's a sports town that I love to visit, besides my hometown of Chicago, it would be it's St. Louis, because we stopped. I forgot where we stopped, but there were some Battlehawk fans, there were some Cardinal fans, St. Louis Blues fans, and I really, really picked on them because when I went to Northeast Missouri State in 1990, I was the only Blackhawks fan on my floor, and I was surrounded by St. Louis Blues fans. But when you visit different fan bases, and Victor, you've traveled with me also to know what it's like when we done college basketball. When you visit different fan bases and get their vibe, and you get their culture, you got to admit that just feeds into not only your fandom of your team, but a fandom of the league that you're covering, does it not?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I want to kind of go out too, because I know we catch a little bit in San Antonio, because I think San Antonio has a little different situation, and it's not excuses. And I see this all over platforms and social media. Last year we pulled at our first game about 25,000. Now San Antonio has been a city that's very rabid, very, really wants that pro football established there. But they've also been used as a pawn. I mean, we've seen them used as a pawn, even with all of this crazy talk with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
When the AAF was there and the Commanders did well. They pulled great numbers. However, 7 games and they left. There's so many different teams that have come into San Antonio that, to be honest, a lot of fans there are skeptical. And then you bring in the XFL last year. We went 3-7. Okay, we didn't have a great year, but we were pulling okay numbers.
Right.
Then you hear of a merger. goes back and it's like, oh no, are we going back to the AAF? What's going to happen with this merger? The merger took place. All of that took a long time. So again, now you're adding a second league, a new league, the UFL. We are doing great. We're a playoff team, but you still are trying to fight that stigma of, is this league going to survive? And I will say, especially in this game last week, being there, and then I am one of those people that go back and watch the game because you miss some things as a fan and at the game, and my seats are very close, so I don't get that really broad view.
Right.
And we're loud. We may be pulling 11, 12,000 people into our games, but our crowd is totally into that game. And tailgating, I'm going to say, and I'm going to put it out there, we are the best tailgaters in the UFL. We are welcoming, hospitable. You come, we love you. Now, when we walk into the dome, that's a different story.
It's a different story, exactly.
But, I think each city has their own thing, and I really see San Antonio exploding with this. But it's really taken our fan base and the city of San Antonio time, because it's just been really used and abused by many leagues, and that plays in somebody, especially when you're paying money, you know. So,
and you're so right about that, because I remember in I want to say 2000 or 2001, there was a preseason game with the Vikings, and they were playing in San Antonio, and the whispers got louder that night that they were going to relocate a team to San Antonio. Of course, that never happened. So I understand completely about the vibe you were talking about, with San Antonio fans wanting to embrace the team and embrace the culture of the UFL. And for some part they did, but there are still some fans that are so skeptical. Okay, are they going to leave? Are they going to leave again like the Commanders did? Are we going to have another? Are we going to have another season? The championship game that they played at the Alamo Dome drew some good noise, but you know this to be true, and fans out there chatting with us know this to be true as well. If you want the great noise, that's where the survival comes in. Okay, St. Louis. I'll say it again. St. Louis has been starving for football since Stan Kroenke became a crook and took the Rams away. And they were starving, and even they were starving for football before the St. Louis football Cardinals left. And that's in that situation, playing at the old Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The apprehension with some of the fans of the UFL, and I've talked to them, as have you, is very real. That's why the crowds aren't out there. They're just thinking, okay, is this going to be another 3.0 or 3.5 and then go away, or what's the plan? That's what I love about the UFL fans, XFL, USFL. They're wondering what the plan is for survival, because when they latch on to a team, they latch on to a team, and they want to know everything. And I applaud the fans. I applaud the fans like this, like yourself, like Victor, like buddy Shane, who's a big time Boston fan. When you latch on to a team, you want to know everything that's going on. When the whispers started of the merger between the USFL and the XFL, I know everybody's spine in San Antonio stiffened, because they thought they were going to be left out in the cold again.
Yeah, that was a very real thought. And the people who weren't thinking that and are like, oh, San Antonio's safe, The other people like myself in the back of our minds are like, I know we are probably safe, but what if? And in that process, and I got really involved behind the scenes. Actually, even went to one of the XFL showcases on my own with some other of the super fans from other teams from Houston. At that time, Orlando. So we went down to Orlando for an XFL showcase. So when I went to that and really kind of got behind the scenes to see, these guys trying out, like, I think there were like 200 guys for, a handful. We're still in this maybe merger talk. We didn't know if it was going to go through. It was an eye opener too, because it was just like, these people are putting their lives on hold. These families, these guys are trying out for a league they may not know will be there. And you just hear so much. And oh my gosh, all of that. And yes, the fan bases were starting to go crazy. You've got this one saying it's got to be like this. And it was downright kind of got a little ugly on the off season and going through this merger. So I was a little afraid that we're going to have so much of this XFL, USFL when it finally went through that we would forget about it being the UFL and the common goal of us all wanting it to survive. And I think as the season has gone on, that nitpickiness between the fans that are currently involved has changed, and we've become a little bit more of a unified product. But it's going to take that, because when we go out and we talk, I get out my ticket manager's card for the Brahmas way more than my own professional business card.
Right.
You know, it's been interesting to see the process and see it turn into what it is. And I have a really good gut feeling that it's going to be back, and we are going to be back. I just hope that there's not too many changes, because I feel like we need a consistent, stable product to draw in those casual fans, to draw in the naysayer fans. And I love my NFL. I love my Jags. But the thing is, we know how many of the NFL diehards are like, oh, that's not professional football. And I'm telling you, we've got some players in this league. What, 120 XFL players were invited to NFL training camps or practice squads, you know, all different scenarios. Not everyone made the team, but 120 players, I believe it was, coming out of the XFL last year. That's impressive.
It is. It is. And I want this league to thrive. Okay, let alone forget surviving. I have a feeling they're gonna survive, and in a couple of years there's gonna be some expansion also to bring back the other teams that were left out of both leagues. But like you said, it's gonna take some consistency from the fan bases. It's gonna take the fans showing up.
Yes.
I mean, you can support them online all you want, but they are opening stadiums in the spring for the fans to come out, and that money right there, let's just go ahead and put everything on the table. That money's going to help drive the league.
The bottom line will be the ticket sales. The bottom line will be the ticket sales.
It'll be the gate. It'll be the gate sales. It'll be the ticket sales.
It's going to get the individual owners involved as the league progresses, and they look at potentially, if they look at going into individual owners, you know, they look at those butts in the seats. Definitely. Yeah.
Man, if I had the money to invest, I'd invest in the team in a heartbeat, and I'd also appoint myself the team broadcaster, because not only would I look at it that way, and I had plans of doing virtual play-by-play for the UFL this year, but then my health decided to kick me in the rear end. But I'm back from that, and I will next weekend be covering the XFL and USFL conference championships, and then following that I will be doing a virtual play-by-play call for the UFL championship, just to get my teeth, just to lick my chops, get my chops wet for that league and how I can plan the scheduling next year. We're up against the break, but it has been such a delight to have you on. Renay Peters, aka the Brahma Babe, big time San Antonio Brahmas fan. Next week, this weekend, I beg your pardon, it's on in the Battle Dome in St. Louis. The winner of this game will host the XFL Conference Championship game, and I cannot wait for it. Thank you, Renay, very much, my dear. It's been a delight. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to have you back.
Thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful week, and I hope to bring home that dub from St. Louis. Orange forward.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
That was fun. Y'all can see this replay. Y'all can see this interview on the replay immediately after the show is over, not only on this Snowman Multimedia channel, but the new channel we have for Snowman in the Morning. Starting today, you'll see a brand new look. This will be one of the first clips that'll be up there. So go to youtube.com/@snowman in the morning if you want to see a replay of all the clips that we do from the show.